So I'm a father of one. I gotta find a babysitter. I found Care.com and I was blown away. Through the platform, I was able to find local and experienced candidates along with their reviews and rates, which were way more affordable than I anticipated. Care.com really put me at ease knowing that they were all required to go through a background check. If you're like me and you need to find someone reliable for your childcare necessities, check out Care.com. Find the ideal sitters for your childcare needs.
This is GoPowerCat.com publisher Tim Fitzgerald with great news to share with our valued 24/7 Sports VIP members. As a way of saying thank you, a subscription to a CBS All-Access commercial-free plan is now included with your 24/7 Sports VIP membership at no additional cost. Watch all of your favorite shows on demand along with exclusive access to GoPowerCat's award-winning and one-of-a-kind coverage of Kansas State sports. Stream more than 10,000 episodes, all access originals, and live TV, including NFL on CBS games. Enjoy the CBS All Access commercial-free plan, a $99.99 annual value for the lifetime of your 24/7 Sports VIP membership. It's an incredible added value for our subscribers, and it's time you probably take advantage of this deal and become a Go PowerCat member. And remember to subscribe to the PowerCat Podcast at your favorite podcast provider, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Now, here is your PowerCat Podcast.
The following is a GoPowerCat.com and Spirit Street production. You've discovered your link to GoPowerCat.com's Tannahill and Spiller Powercat Podcast, presented by Fridge Wholesale Liquor, and it starts right now. Now, let's go to the WTC Gig-Powered Studios. Here are your hosts, former K-State tight end Travis Tannahill and former Wildcat safety Monte Spiller.
Welcome to the Tannahill and Spiller Podcast. After a tough fought loss against West Virginia, not one that I think either of us were really expecting to struggle. I think I predicted 41-17 maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, I predicted 45-17, I believe. But before we get started, I'm blaming this loss on you.
On me?
If I remember correctly, you predicted that we'll finish the season 8-4.
I know. I thought about that. So now I got a chance to be right.
And so right now we're on track. Thanks for that, man.
Yeah, but, my bad.
It's all good. But no, I don't know. I was at the game, and as you were, I felt like we came out confident. That we get a punt. We come out first play, go deep, score a touchdown. I'm like, okay, as expected, we're going to dominate. And after that, it's kind of like, I don't know if we got overconfident or we kind of took the foot off the pedal or they made adjustments. And I noticed, too, and give them credit, they came out with all kind of pre-snap looks. And I thought we adjusted to it well and got lined up properly, but they just seemed better prepared than we did. I could be wrong. And I'm not saying they out-coached us, but they had a great game plan.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me still is this run game for Kansas State. And I think teams in the Big 12 are starting to figure it out. I don't remember what coach said it, or if it was a player who said it, but someone said like they're starting to blitz on run. They're blitzing the run plays, which makes a whole lot of sense because this offense is one for doing some crazy pulls.
Right.
And the easiest way to kill pulls is to kill it with penetration.
Blitz, yep.
If you get someone following that polar or just blowing up those polling schemes, which take a few seconds to develop, that's the easiest way to blow them up, which I think is what's starting to happen. So there's ways to counter that, and I think that that offensive staff will figure that out. But I think the last two games, both those teams have done a nice job of stopping up that run game.
Yeah, and it goes with any league. Football is at the NFL level, the college level, the high school level, it's a copycat league. So if they got film from the week before, and if a team had success stopping the run, obviously you're going to go back and kind of repeat that, maybe put a little bit different spin on it. But yeah, they see it on film and say, hey, they had some success against K-State, stopping the run. We're going to throw this at them. This is their rundown. This is their tendencies. And I'm thinking that's probably what happened. Now, after so many weeks, obviously K-State has a good offensive coaching staff. They'll make adjustments. And then the question is, will Texas Tech adjust to it, and will we adjust? But I think you're right. West Virginia came in with a great game plan. They brought heat a lot, and they trusted their corners and man situations. And kudos to their safeties. They made some plays early in the game and late in the game that were dudes as being dudes. And big-time players made some big-time plays, and they did.
Yeah, and when you look at, K-State was relatively healthy. I mean, Skyler threw the ball pretty stinking well, 24 for 39, 299.
Yeah.
A couple turnovers, which you hate to see. We had James Gilbert back, which was nice. He got 13 touches for 60 yards, 4.5-yard average, and 1 touchdown. I mean, that's a pretty solid day, especially coming off an injury. 2 weeks ago, we kind of criticized K-State for not running Skyler enough.
Yeah.
14 carries, only 19 yards. So it's like they tried.
Yeah, they did.
And I'm sure 3 or 4 of those were scrambles. So, he probably got 8-9 carries, true carries. So, I mean, it's like they followed the script and they followed the game plan and they stuck to their guns and only putting up 20 points. I mean, that's got to be disappointing if you're that offense.
And I think guys had opportunities to make plays, and I would never question the kid's heart because you're a D1 athlete. You're at the highest level, at the collegiate level, obviously. But I think there were plays where they just wanted it more than we did, and they made those plays, and we didn't.
Yeah, you looked on that sideline, and I hated, and I still hate how, momentum. It's like, no, it's not momentum. It is momentum.
It is, yeah.
It's frustrating as a player because it shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
It's like, we're better than them. We should win.
Yep.
But there's so much emotional side to this game, and there's so much momentum that happens, and it's frustrating because it makes no, sense on paper. But it's real. It's very real.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was almost like that sideline was pretty dead pretty early. Mm-hmm. Even, the crowd. Kind of... I'm not going to lie. It was 60 and sunny. I was tailgating in a polo.
Right.
And then it's halftime and I'm freezing.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah, I was the idiot who was it looked like about a third of the stands who did not bring a jacket to the game.
Guilty.
Guilty as charged. Because about a third of the stands filed out about halftime. And they didn't come back. And I was like... And I froze my tail off and sat there and was a good fan, stayed till the end.
Ditto.
But I was like, man... We're in Kansas. It's mid-November. We got to be smarter than this.
And it's funny because the people I was sitting with, I was like, I forget. Time changed, and now around 5 o'clock, 5:30, it gets dark.
Oh, yeah. It got dark early, which means it got colder early.
It got cold, and it got dark early. And I stayed there throughout the game. But regardless of what people say, that played a role in it.
Yeah.
The emotion wasn't there from the standpoint of the fans. And I think the players kind of fed into that as well. And if you look over at West Virginia's sideline, they're jumping up and down. They're flying around. They're having a good time. And they had more energy. And I think they played a role in how they finished the game.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel... I mean, as a player, you feed off that crowd, especially on defense. On offense, they're supposed to be quiet. But on defense, man, you feel that. And I'll still never remember Big 12 championship game against Texas.
Yeah.
My senior year. I mean, that crowd. There wasn't an empty seat in the house.
I was there as a fan bystander. I remember a bunch of us former players left the stands and came to the sideline with you guys before the time expired. And I remember thinking, this is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the best atmospheres ever.
Willie was up
on the press box, and then they took a crane to that press box the next day.
Yes.
But I mean, that crowd matters. So if you're listening to this and you're a Kansas State fan and you go to the games, first off, bring a jacket. It's mid-November. It's going to be late November next time K-State's home against Iowa State.
Yes.
And get loud, get rowdy, because those guys need that. I mean, and they just need a little spark to get going sometimes. So I know. I mean, everyone wants to be out there, and obviously you can only be out there if you're age 18 to 22 and good enough to get on the field. But you can have a part in this team, because that crowd makes all the difference, especially in games where they're struggling a little bit. It only takes, in the second quarter they're struggling. Next thing you know, crowd noise is loud. They get a false start.
Yep.
They're backed up. They got to throw, and they could have ran. And you get a pick, and next thing the whole flip script, and K-State goes on and wins. So
it truly matters.
Truly matters.
It does. And something outside of the crowd, I was kind of shocked to see, but when I researched it, it was accurate. That was the 4th loss we had to West Virginia in a row.
I think I saw that as well.
I was kind of surprised.
It was a little surprising.
I was like, really, 4 in a row? But going back, it was true and accurate. So that kind of surprised me because I felt like I remember the days when they had Geno Smith, and we would just and they were ranked high, and we went up there and just dominated them.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, I remember that, and I'm just thinking, I can't believe that we lost 4, but we did. And it's one of those things where it was kind of a comment where people were blaming the white helmets for the loss, and somebody made the comment that the 3 previous times we lost to them, we had the traditional silver with the Powercat, so you can't really blame.
I even saw which we can bring those up real quick. I mean, again, one, if you're a fan that doesn't bring a jacket to the game, you're a bad fan. Which me and Monty are both in that boat.
We're guilty.
If you're a fan that's blaming the white helmets for a K-State loss, you are also a bad fan.
Stop it.
So continue listening, continue hanging out on Go Powercat, but quit blaming that on losses, because there's nothing about white helmets or white pants that have anything to do with losses.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, I mean, it helps us because it gets us better recruits.
It does.
In theory.
And it's funny, and I'm pretty sure you noticed it. I know K-State athletics and this a marketing standpoint, there were the hoodies, the T-shirts. People had the Cat script all over, walking around the stadium with the new gear on. I loved it. I didn't get by any. I should have.
Yeah, I need to.
Yeah, I loved it. But I was like, you know what? That's great for the fans. It's great for the school. And it's a good look for us. I know I can't think of his name. Is it Scott Van Pelt?
Yeah, Scott, yep.
He had the new helmet on his show, earlier in the week, I believe it was, prior to the game. So, it gives K-State notoriety. It's different. Why not? It's not a negative. It's
something different. Yeah, I saw a couple of the national, football-type accounts on Twitter tweeting it out, just saying, hey, nice fresh look from K-State.
Yeah,
and two, I mean, I don't know how you are, but I got about a dozen purple or gray Powercat hoodies.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife's like, you don't need another hoodie. And now I'm like, I need another hoodie.
I need something different.
I need a gray one that says Cats, C-A-T-S, on the front of it. So now I got a new excuse to go get a brand new hoodie and spend $60 and give it to K-State.
There you go. Going back to the game, it was one of those things where we would have a drive, and then all of a sudden it would stall. We would punt, defense would stop, and it was kind of like neither us or West Virginia really wanted to take control of the game. Even late up until the point where we threw the last interception to end the game, I felt like we had an opportunity to win it, and I don't know, it was hard to get a grasp of the flow of the game.
Yeah. And two, I mean, even that INT there at the end, I mean, he was open.
He was open, yeah.
He was open.
He was wide open.
And I listened to the post-game live. I thought it was more of like a scramble drill.
Yeah.
That was called.
Yeah.
I mean, they were 2-eye safeties. They were gonna send guys up the sideline, widen the safeties out. He was gonna run a little 15-yard button hook and go kind of. I mean, it worked to perfection.
Yeah, he was open. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if they drew that one up in the dirt or what, but it worked. It was just Skylar got a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Had to throw it off his back or front foot. One of the two didn't quite have his footing right, and just hung it up there just a yard or two short. And man, because I saw that ball let go. I was like, oh, he got him. We're about to win this game.
Game. Yep.
Nope.
And it was game not for the right guys.
Game the other way. So, how do you feel? What are your thoughts? We heard some of the players say afterwards that maybe they took West Virginia for granted.
I respect their honesty.
Yeah.
Because
that's what it looked like.
Yeah, I respect their honesty because I guarantee the coaches always told them all week, don't take anybody for granted because it's D1, anybody can beat anybody at any given date. But I believe it because the way they played, they didn't play them the same tenacity they played Oklahoma. They didn't play them as nearly as tough as they played KU. And I think West Virginia is better than KU. Yeah,
absolutely.
And they didn't play them nearly as hard at home. So I can believe it, and hopefully lesson learned moving forward. You don't underestimate anybody, and hopefully they finish the season like you predicted, 8-4, going to a decent bowl game.
Yeah, and that's where this team, from a maturity standpoint, I mean, to be a 9, 10, 11 win ball team, I mean, you got to bring it every week because when you're that good, you got a bullseye on your back,
man,
and you're getting everyone's best shot because they know if they knock you off. I mean, K-State was still ranked 24th, I think.
Yeah.
If West Virginia can knock off a ranked opponent, which they did, that's a pretty big notch on a new coaching staff's belt. So
it is on the road.
Yeah. And late in Big 12 plays. So I think that's where truly great teams figure out a way to bring it every single week, which is hard. It's a long season. It's emotional. Injuries happen.
Yeah.
But the more and more mature this team gets, I think they'll figure that out. And I don't know if like the transition, like where you kind of just start over again, and so in 2 or 3 years we'll start to see that maturity happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got seniors out there; they should be mature enough.
Right.
But I don't know. It's tough. It's hard. It's easy to do. Mm-hmm. We did it down at Texas Tech one time and got waxed.
Yep.
And so, I mean, it happens to any good team, but it's frustrating from a fan standpoint.
It is, but and I want to encourage the K-State fans to remember and look at other teams inside the Big 12 and outside the Big 12. How many other teams right now are 2 games above 500? Well, we're 6-4. 2 games or 1 game above 500 with a new coaching staff.
Yeah.
If you think about it, and that are bowl eligible. KU's not.
No.
West Virginia's not.
Nope.
Houston, where Hogerson is the old coach at Western, they're not.
No.
You know, if you
Tech's
look at
not.
that, yeah, exactly. Tech's not. If you look at all those schools, none of those schools are probably going bowling, and none of those schools are above 500. So with a new coaching staff, and none of those schools beat Oklahoma, who is now back again, the number 1 team in the Big 12 after they came back and beat Baylor.
Yep.
So, you know, is it frustrating that we lost the game? Yeah, sure it is. But
big picture looks great.
look at seriously, man. Look, the future is bright, and if we can win out like you predicted, I'm gonna keep reminding you of that. 8-4. If we can finish 8-4, that's a great season, man.
Dude, that is a great season. That's what. Yeah, I saw somewhere. I think Mike Stanley, the guy who does the helmets on Twitter.
Yeah. Which he does a great job.
Which he does a great job.
I love it.
Which he does. Yeah, I don't know what his real job is, but he needs to go work for Nike.
Seriously.
I think he tweeted out like, "All right, guys, K-State is bowl eligible. We won our big non-con game, and we beat Oklahoma.
Yeah,
like life's pretty good for a first-year coach.
Seriously,
and that's going back to the stupid helmets. I was like, guys, if this is our biggest problem, that we're as a fan base, we're bickering about helmets. We're in a pretty good shape. I mean, we could be fighting over." Should we fire our head coach?
Yeah.
Because we're 500 for the 8th year in a row.
But you know what, exactly. We know what that says, though. Our fans have become spoiled because they're used to, which is a great thing to have, a great problem to have. You're used to being competitive, you're used to winning, you're used to expecting certain things. But I'm not saying, and don't settle. No, you never want to settle. But look at the big picture. We got to be realistic. Like you said, you know, first-year coach, you know, if it was his 4th or 5th year, yeah, definitely. Frustration should set in. But as a first-year coach coming from a different, coming from FCS to FBS, and I think they're doing a phenomenal job, and I'm more than happy with the job they've done so far, and I'm more than ecstatic with the recruiting job that they're doing and bringing some of the guys that they got coming in. So I, as a former player, as a fan, I'm really happy.
Yeah. Overall, big picture looks great. The 4-hour window on Saturday was a pretty poor product on the field.
Yeah.
But from an energy, and I still think it goes back to energy. I mean, which is I don't know. I never. It's frustrating because I remember as a player, one time I just kind of was having a little moment. A little meditation moment in the cold tub or something. And I was like, man, we work so hard for like, you know, practices, you know, with weights and everything. Man. It's like 4 or 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
And it's like, we do that for 365 days out of the year. And we get to go perform for 3.5 hours, 12 times a year.
Yep.
And like, so we get 36 hours of game time. And like you knock out 36 hours in a week of football during practice time. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, how can you not give everything you got during that 70, 75 plays? And it's not like they were not giving everything they had from an effort standpoint, but just the energy wasn't there.
It wasn't, man. And it was a collective energy. And I know probably a large amount of the kids, they were, you know, who doesn't want to win? But they need to look at themselves in the mirror and be like, hey, listen, was I part of the solution or was I part of the problem? And did I give my all? And hopefully they say, hey, you know what? I didn't give my all. This week it's a new start, opportunity to do it again, to get a win, and to get that 2 losses, out of your mind, because we've lost 2 games back to back that we probably should have won, including that Texas game.
Yep.
So,
yeah, Texas I feel like is Texas we could have won. West Virginia we should have won.
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of how I put those two out there. But I mean, both of them, very easily Could be an 8-win ball game team right now.
Yeah. But we can't change it. And moving forward, going to Tech, it's a 6:00 game. Tech, I think they had a slim loss to TCU.
Correct.
TCU jumped out fairly early, but Tech battled back. Tech's one of those teams where they historically have not been good on defense. They're struggling in the secondary. If you can get Malik Knowles going early, and I'm not sure when Gill will be back, and if you get a couple other guys going, get Sean going, we can move the ball with efficiency and get up on them. And they're not built to come back from a large deficit. But on the flip side, they're playing at home. It's a night game. I don't know if it's senior night for them or not. It could be.
Could be.
But, and senior night, people are emotional. Mom and dad are there. Family's there. And a lot of guys, most guys aren't going to the NFL. So this is their last hurrah. So, because they're not bowl eligible, to my understanding, and they want to give their best. So we got to understand that as a team. Do you want to be a spoiler? Not really, but you got to take that road how it comes.
Yeah, exactly. And, yeah, it looks like everything we've seen this year of Texas Tech, it looks like they're still trying to outscore you. So,
yeah.
which I mean, and that's where, just looking at the stat line last week, Texas Tech, 333 yards passing from Duffy, 4 touchdowns, 1 INT. Let's see here. 42 plus 19 is 61. So like 69 yards of rushing offense. So they're still going to throw the ball around. They're still going to be Texas Tech. That's what they do.
And that's against a good TCU defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're going to have some success on offense. And then, TCU, obviously Texas Tech defense gave up 323 yards, 2 touchdowns to a very average TCU offense and quarterback. So we'll see how that one plays out. I hate to say we might have ourselves a shootout. Yeah. Because I don't know if we get in a shootout, I don't know if that's good for K-State because we don't play well. That's not our style.
No, we have to win the special team battle. We have to on the road against.
We got
guys.
Nothing this week from it.
Oh my God, nothing.
It wasn't. We didn't have any fumbles or anything, but nothing
spectacular. Nobody broke. We had opportunities, very here and there, but you're right. Like special teams, normally we get something big out of special teams. We got nothing this week. So this coming up week, we definitely have to make it a point to win the special team game. So
we'll see the old Lubbock, Texas shootout. They got Raiders. Guns in their Red Raiders. Their little mascot carries around guns. Which seeing the West Virginia Mountaineer running out with a musket, it's just weird. Just a dude dressed up in Daniel Boone and a coonskin hat.
I think you were jealous.
No, not jealous of that dude.
I know better.
Not jealous. Better. I'd much rather have Willie on our side than some bearded male. So, how you feeling about the Texas? I know we both were feeling very confident about this West Virginia game. And I was feeling very confident about West Virginia, Texas Tech, and Iowa State.
Yeah, same here.
And now I'm very nervous for West Virginia and Texas Tech and Iowa State.
Yeah, because Iowa State goes and beat Texas, which it took a field goal. So Texas kind of got a taste of their own medicine from the previous week. But Iowa State at home, they played well. They jumped out early on Texas, kind of dominated Texas, battled back, give them credit. But with Texas Tech, I still have the same train of thought going in. And I think now that we lost to West Virginia, our kids are refocused, and they're not going to they better not take Tech for granted. And I think the coaches will get them prepared. And I feel confident. I think we can come out and win by 10 maybe, give or take. But we're the better team as a whole. We're better coach as a whole. But we have to play our game and not let Tech stick around.
Yeah, that's what – this whole entire conference, probably besides OU and Baylor on the top end and besides KU on the bottom end, those, 7 teams, everyone can beat anyone on any given day. If you come out and you play 90% out of 100, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
OU can get away with, bringing an A- performance and winning against some teams. Yeah. And no offense to KU, but I think a lot of teams going against KU they're still rebuilding. Yeah, but everyone else is, as we can see, everyone's beating up on everyone.
It's a battle.
Yeah, everyone's beating up on everyone.
Yeah. So kudos to the Big 12. a lot of people always talk historically that the Big 12 doesn't play defense, and I wholeheartedly disagree with that. And I think our offense are just so prolific, and our quarterbacks and the receivers we have, we got so much speed. I don't care who you are. They're going to put up points against you. And when you got guys throwing for 300 yards, running for 150 yards, yeah, your defense is going to look average against that week in and week out. So, so call it what you want, but it is what it is. So, yeah.
Did you, speaking real quick, just overall Big 12, did you catch that OU Baylor game from last weekend?
I did, and surprisingly, a lot of people turned it off early. I didn't. Just
Me.
and to be honest with you, I didn't turn it off because I was enjoying watching Baylor.
So there were selfish reasons.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden, here they come. And, Jalen Hurts, he's one of those guys where he is a quality individual, a quality player, but he gained a lot more respect because, guys get Heisman candidates, guys get MVP candidates, and without him, Oklahoma maybe is a 3-loss team, including us, including Baylor, and maybe Okie State, because Okie State being a rival.
Texas. Or Texas, yeah. They'll drop another one.
But because of him and him alone, they won that game.
Yeah.
And no doubt, because if they have an average quarterback back there, there's no way they recover from the deficit there against Baylor. I'm sorry.
You just can't score faster.
No.
Unless you got a stud.
Yeah, and he is definitely a stud. So props to that young man. But I watched it, and, I think Baylor gained some respect from some people because, they took the foot off the pedal a little bit, but they proved that they can play with anybody.
Yeah, they can play with a top 10 program, which I think OU still is.
Yeah.
And, so it was, I think, like, in the first quarter, I fell asleep on the couch. I woke up at halftime, and I was like, man, they're still getting killed or whatever. Yeah. I'm going to bed. Which it was like 9:30. I was pooped from freezing my tail off at the K-State game. So I went to bed, woke up, and then Annie and Zach Hansen, who are K-Staters that are down at OU now, we got a little group chat with them and some other K-Staters, and someone had text, "Congrats, Annie and Zach," and I'm like,
"What?"
It's Sunday morning. I'm so confused. Like first thing I read on my phone, I'm like, "There's no way they won."
And they did.
I followed up. I was like, "Holy cow, it's good for them." Yeah. So I always like to, I love watching. When K-State plays, that's a program that I don't absolutely hate. So I like them succeeding, and it gets harder and harder to hate programs because you always got someone you like on that program.
Yeah, man, I get you. But the funny thing about it is, more than likely, unless something crazy happened, it's probably going to be a repeat of those two in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, that'll be fun,
and that'll be interesting to see how that pans out. So it makes for a good storyline, and it makes for good for the Big 12, and also I think Oklahoma, if they went out, because you can't really Man, Oklahoma State, they quiet, but they are putting some numbers up on offense. And defense, they're getting at it, but you can't count them out yet because Oklahoma State, I think they play in Stillwater this year. I can see them jumping up and getting Oklahoma if they're not on their A game. So we'll see. A
rivalry game, you never know.
Definitely.
You never know.
Definitely. So who we got? Who we calling today?
We got Mr. Ty Zimmerman.
Good old Ty.
Mr. Junction City.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He's a good dude. Good dude. So we will take a quick break. We're going to get Ty on the line. And then when we circle back, we'll get a few minutes with Ty and then go from there. So see you in a sec.
The Tannahill and Spiller Powercat Podcast is sponsored by Fridge Wholesale Liquor. The Fridge is your source for all of your tailgate and party needs. The Powercat Podcast will be right back.
Selling a little or a lot? Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage, to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's here to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 15% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. And Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast. Diets and workouts, you've done the work, so why can't you get to your goal weight? That's because up to 70% of your weight is predetermined by your genetics. So while you've been told that it's all about your willpower, you're actually fighting your biology. Don't do it alone. Found's doctor-designed program uses medication as part of a treatment plan that targets your body's unique biological needs, so that your body works with you and not against you. Take the quiz at joinfound.com to see if Found's weight loss program is right for you.
And now we return to the Tannahill and Spiller Powercat Podcast, sponsored by Fridge Wholesale Liquor.
Welcome back. We got former safety and stud Ty Zimmerman with us on the line. Ty, how you been, man?
I'm doing really good, man. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Awesome. Sounds good. Just to, I know you and I catch up every once in a while, but just for our listeners to hear kind of what you up to nowadays. I know football's been over for a couple years now. Where you at? Where you living? What you doing for work? What's the wife Mandy doing, and how's life going for you?
Yeah, it's going really well. I actually work for Fellowship of Christian Athletes now. I took this job about a year ago, so I'm full-time with them. When I got done playing, I had a short stint in New Orleans. When I got done playing, we moved back to Junction City. I was teaching and coaching there for a few years, and then took this job. So we live in Junction, but I work in Manhattan, Junction City area. My wife coaches a couple of sports at Junction, does some photography stuff, and then we got two little ones now. We got a daughter, Brinley, that'll turn 4 in February, and then a son that's about a year and a half now. So life is good for us.
Awesome. Yeah, congrats on those two little ones. Love following along with them. And Mandy, the marathon runner, she's always, I don't know how she does it. I can't run a 400-meter dash right now if I needed to. She's like, casual 14 miles on a Saturday. I'm like, oh, my goodness.
Mm-mm.
But
yeah, she just ran one in Kansas City on Saturday.
Oh,
so that's where we were up there. She was running a 15K with a couple thousand runners up there. So yeah, she's getting into it.
Better her than me. So Saturday's game, Cats versus West Virginia. It sounds like you caught the game. What are your thoughts on that? Obviously not the outcome we wanted. What did you think about that one?
Yeah, I caught most of it. We got back in time to watch a little bit of it at least, and it came out hot. I thought they had the ball rolling for a while, kind of fizzled out in the second half. I think a lot of people underestimate West Virginia. I mean, they're a tough team. I think the Big 12 generally is a tough conference, and this year I think you're seeing that just around the league and stuff. So I had heard some interviews after the game that maybe they were a little bit more confident going in and maybe underestimated a little bit. But they played well for the most part. They just kind of came up short at the end. So, but I really like where the program's going, man. I got to go to the TCU game a few weeks ago, and just seeing some of the energy out there, new energy, some of the new stuff they're implementing. I think the future is bright for them.
Right on. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I know a previous podcast, I think I underestimated West Virginia, and I also looked at, the Cats, the way they played against Texas, and I felt like that we would rebound coming home today. I know you kind of alluded that you currently are working with FCA. Do you have the opportunity to reach out to the current athletes over at K-State, or are you just strictly at the high school level? Kind of elaborate on that a little bit more.
Yeah, so I'm mainly at the kind of middle school, high school level. We got some plans to start some stuff on campus there. They got a lot of just different ministries, the Athletes in Action, STUMO, a bunch of different ministries to reach the kids. Really, my role is mainly with the coaches, which is kind of interesting. A lot of people don't know that with FCA. get to be around the athletes, but my main role is ministering and serving coaches. But I did get an opportunity. They asked me to do some chapel work, and so I got to do chapel for the TCU game.
Oh, cool.
Meet a few of the players that showed up to that, and then kind of hung out on the sideline with Jeff Smith and some other guys there. So that was a good time. I don't do a lot of work with them, but they've been really open to hosting some stuff. And we also got on a FCA coaches clinic here in February, and they're going to host it there. So they've been awesome. Just the doors open, and they've been good as far as my role.
That's awesome. I guess I didn't realize that you got to go down to when you went to the TCU game, you got to do that chapel rule. How, it's out of curiosity, I mean, you and I and Monte both have all sat in those chapel seats, which is most fans probably don't know, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, if this is how they still do it, Ty, but home games, it was always the day or the morning of before the game or a few hours before the game. And then away games was always the night before in the hotel was when chapel was. And it was always an interesting group because, I think a lot of guys just went to it because they were nervous. And that was just kind of – it was just a way to settle the nerves and think about something else, which is great because you're getting guys in a good environment and allowing them to, hear some truth and some positive teaching. So how is that is it still the same, first off? And second off, how was that like being on the other end of that room and being the one up in front doing the teachings?
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned that. I think I mainly went because I didn't want to get bad luck. I went before the game, just kind of like I didn't, like one of those pregame rituals or whatever. I wasn't. I've had conversations with you. I wasn't following Jesus at the time, and he really got a hold of my life a few years ago, which is what led me into this role. So it was cool for me being on the other end of that and kind of sharing. I got to share my testimony with them and kind of talk about that. And I used to be in you guys' feet not too long ago, and I talked about having your identity in Christ and not your identity in performance, which I think is very relevant to college athletes because day to day you got to perform well. And so it was good. There was probably 35 guys that showed up, but the coolest thing was about half of the coaching staff was there. And so it was cool just to get to meet some of those guys that I hadn't met before. And it's game days are a little hectic, so they can't stick around and talk for a long time. But the way we used to do it was in the team meeting room, as you remember, like right before our team meetings, we had our pads on and everything, our lower half on. But they do it at the hotel there in the morning before the game, and so a little bit more relaxed, but they still got some other things going on. But it was good to get back and just be on the other side of that and be able to share how Jesus has worked in my life and had some cool conversations off of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know, you mentioned you used to go not to get bad luck. I used to go, so I felt like I didn't have to go to church on Sunday morning after a victory. I'm like, if I go to church Saturday before the game, then I don't got to go Sunday. So glad to know you and I both of our spiritual maturity has grown up a little bit. So going back or touching base on, I know, touching on Skylar Thompson, I know that's a man who's done some good things on the field this year, which you can touch on, but I know you're probably aware of some of his off-field stuff where, he's really kind of changed his life around for the better, and he obviously had a very tough childhood with losing his mother, so he's been through some real pain and some real struggles. First off, do you know him that well, or other than kind of from what you see from the outside in and the stories that get written about him? Kind of touch on his play, how he's playing this year, and then kind of him as a man, if you know him any more than maybe some of the listeners do.
Yeah, I don't know him too well. I met him after chapel. We exchanged numbers. And so hopefully we can meet up, after the season or something. I remember I sat down with Colin last spring because he actually spoke at our FCA banquet, and that was right around the time when all that happened, when Skylar came into Colin's office and wanted to know what's this Jesus guy about and what does it mean to follow him, and Colin got to lay that out for him, and then a couple months after that he gets baptized. So I've heard a lot of his story through Colin, and just some times of rejoicing through that, and seen some stuff in the media. I saw some posted last week where he spoke at one of the youth groups there in town, and so I've heard a lot of that through Colin. As far as his play on the field, man, he impresses me. Just his arm strength, his poise. I think it seems like, from an outsider's perspective, it seems like he's playing a lot more free this year. I think last year with the two quarterback system, this, but Travis, just with our experience, that even my senior year, I guess this was a year after you left, but we had the Jake Waters, Daniel Sams little thing going back and forth all year, and it just felt like neither one of them could get in a rhythm because they were just trading snaps. And so I think now that Skyler's the main guy, it seems like the team is really rallying around him, and I think he has a bright future ahead of him next year as well.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I'm impressed with Skyler as a young person and also as a player. And being older, I had the opportunity to watch you play also, and being a former safety myself. And I watched the whole game, and I always appreciate safeties yourself and other guys that I played with and they came after me. And I will tell you, I know you talk about your work with FCA, and we've kind of communicated outside of football as far as the high school level with coaching and with also FCA. And my son Yancey, who is a freshman and who is also a safety, looks up to you. And it's good for me as a former player, as a father, and as a follower also to see yourself doing such good work in the community. And it kind of goes, I guess, unspoken, or not as much talked about, because, football is kind of the headliner. But as you know, and as Trav know, there's a lot more than that. But moving forward, tell me, I guess, what do we need to do as a team? Because we go to Lubbock, and you've played at Lubbock before, and I just saw the game is at 6 o'clock, I believe. And with the time change, it's getting dark a lot quicker. And, Lubbock is one of those communities, it's one of those stadiums. Nighttime, it gets rowdy. What do we got to do to get back on track?
Yeah, it's a very true statement. Texas Tech is a tough place to play. You got some rowdy fans and stuff. I think the biggest thing, you can tell a lot from the overall chemistry and the health of a team by the way they respond to adversity. And I think for the most part, I think they've exceeded expectations already. I mean, going in, I don't think people had high expectations for just Coach Kleiman in the new season, him coming from North Dakota State and all that. I love the hire, and I thought going in, things are going to go well. And so I think they've done well up to this point, but I think just bouncing back from this tough loss this week would be just kind of a huge showing, I guess, to the fan base and to what they got. I think the biggest thing is they got to get run game going early, open up the pass. Defense plays well. I think it's just when your offense is struggling to get points on the board, you get tired and all that kind of stuff. I haven't seen a whole lot on Texas Tech. Historically, they've been the no-huddle offense going quick, and so you get gassed a lot. And so I think if we can control, time of possession, get some points on the board early, I think we can take some of that momentum going forward.
How do you feel kind of about the Scotty Hazelton defensive-led unit? I mean, it seems to be they're playing a little more aggressive, but as the season's progressed, I feel like, and maybe it's due to injuries, they've gotten a little softer, playing a little more of that bend, don't break that K-State's kind of known for. First off, did you get to meet Scotty down at TCU? What are your thoughts on him? And kind of as the defensive philosophy has been just slightly more aggressive this year, how are you feeling on that? And then how would you have liked to play in this system?
So I met him just very briefly. Didn't have a whole lot of time to talk to him. I liked an aggressive style of defense. I think they got, some guys do. They got some great D linemen, front seven that are playing pretty well. I think if you got the secondary to cover, then it's a good scheme to go to. When Coach Hayes was around, he kind of totally switched up the system my sophomore into the junior year. And remember, junior year, we had a stud defense and played some of that bend don't break, but he would play some zero coverage, some one-man high, bring a lot of pressure at different situations. And so I like the stuff that Hazelton is doing. I think they need to continue to stick with it, continue to be focused on stopping the run, and then make some plays in the pass game.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think he's one of the good bright minds on the staff and got a heck of a beard. So
he does, man.
He does. Well, we'll let you get back to the two little ones. Get them. I'm sure they're all put to bed by now. But let you get back to Mandy. And thanks for joining us. We'll for sure need to catch up next time. Next time we run into each other. So good talking to you, Monty.
Take care, man. Good seeing you.
Yeah, good to talk to you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Zan. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for listening again to another episode of the Tannahill and Spiller Podcast. Hopefully next week we'll all be in a little more more positive spirits. Although I feel like we're handling this pretty well.
Yeah, I'm not down about it. I'm optimistic. Come on, guys. Here's my personal plea. to the football team, guys, let's get a victory, because when we win, and I say we, K-State football, and any sport for that matter, but when we win, Manhattan becomes Manhappiness. Aggieville appreciates it. All the apparel companies, all the restaurants, all the husbands are happy, and all their wives are happy because their husbands are happy. So let's get a win, guys, and put this place back in a happy situation like we should be.
Yeah, no, well said. There's nothing better than K-State Saturdays, especially when they win.
Yes, sir.
So until next time, see y'all after Texas Tech. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
You've been listening to the Tannahill and Spiller Powercat Podcast, presented by Fridge Wholesale Liquor. Powercat Podcast. All rights reserved. GoPowercat.com and Spirit Street Publishing.
With Blue Link Plus, you can access your Hyundai Tucson Limited remotely. Doors unlocked, temperature set, lost car found.
There it is.
Get complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.